Margins are getting thinner, expenses are on the rise, and you feel like you need to raise your prices. But how do you do that without losing clients? On this episode, we're going to give you some of our personal tips on how to raise prices and retain your clients. Welcome to the Checkpoint Podcast, where we help you set and reach new milestones in your service business. My name is Matthew Armstrong, and I'm your host. And on this episode, we're talking about how to raise your prices without losing clients, how to deliver that news, some things you need to think about before you actually choose to raise your prices on your clients. It's going to be a good episode. We know you're going to learn something. I'm here with Matt Allen, Check's Director of Education,
All right.
and the professor, as I prefer to call him. Anyways, before we jump into this podcast, I want to tell you that this podcast is brought to you by Check, the service business management app. Now, Check was designed to help you leave all of your admin in the field. It's going to help you get organized, automate your admin so that whenever you get home, you get to flop down on the couch. You don't have any more invoices to send out. You have no more scheduling to do. It's a beautiful thing. So if you're interested in using Check, if you have a small or solo service business, you can go to hellocheck.co and hit download to get it right now, or we linked it in the show notes for you. There's a 14-day free trial, no credit card required, so you can get started with no risk. Go do it right now. Okay, dude, we are talking about raising prices, which is a sensitive subject. People can get out of their minds about this subject.
Yeah, money can be sensitive and awkward.
Mo money, mo problems. That's what one of the greatest philosophers of all time said. Am I right? So, Matt, talk to us a little bit about why we need to raise prices. Like what all is happening that goes into that equation.
Yeah, I mean, it feels obvious, but what it boils down to is stuff's more expensive, right? I mean, y'all are feeling it. We're feeling it. You've got personal expenses. So rent, cars, groceries, your internet. I mean, all these things that you pay for are getting more expensive. Yeah. If you work for like corporate America, they often provide you cost of living wage increases every year. You own your own business, so you got to be the one that's going to give yourself a raise. Yeah. Right? So you have to raise your prices if you're going to give yourself a raise. The other thing, and oh man, do we feel this? The expenses for your business. Yeah. Right? I remember the first commercial mower I bought, 21-inch, was $800. And I love that thing. I looked at it when we were preparing for this. That same mower, nothing has changed, is $400 more expensive. $1,200 for that mower. Ouch. Right? And then let's just talk about employees. Right? So we all know this. It's in the news everywhere. Because personal expenses go up, now people need to be paid more in order to pay for their rent, their food, and all this other stuff. So whereas like 10 years ago, I could hire somebody and start them at like $10, $12 an hour and slowly creep them up, and people thought, wow, this is great. I'm getting paid $15 an hour to cut grass or do landscaping. Yeah. And nowadays, I'm talking to folks online and they're not able to get anybody unless they're starting at $20 an hour. Right. And so I understand it both from like how difficult it is as an employer, and I see the other side of like, look, I've got to pay for expenses, that's right. Diapers, rent, whatever it is, right? Yeah. And so both sides of it are tough. Yeah. So the only way to survive, in my opinion, is really you got to raise your prices to be able to account for these increased business expenses. Yeah, and another big reason to increase your prices is simply increased demand. Like if you're doing a good job at providing a good service, now whether it's pressure washing, window cleaning, lawn care, landscaping, if you're doing a good job, most of these service businesses grow primarily through word of mouth. Actually, 70% of operators grow their business primarily through word of mouth. So if you're doing a good job, you're knocking it out of the park, you will grow your business, or at least increase the amount of leads. It's up to you and figure out how much you want to grow. Everyone has different capacities. Right. Everyone has different goals. But as you are increasing growth in your business,
Another thing that you want to make sure that I paid attention to as I was starting to hit my capacity with my business is I started increasing the price.
Right.
Because if I'm going to take on any additional clients, if I'm full, if my capacity is absolutely full, you better believe all these new clients that are coming in, they're coming in the door with higher prices than my existing clients.
Yeah, I remember taking on new clients when I first started, and somebody was like, "Oh, is there any room to negotiate?" And you're like, "Yeah, sure, I'll knock $5-10
Sure.
a visit off of that." When I was full, it was like, "Just take it or leave it. This is the price." Like I'm not going to take on a new client that's paying less than the majority of my existing clients.
That's exactly right. Go ahead.
I think kind of continuing on with that is raising prices. You like we just talked about, now you're growing, you're going to realize, especially when you first start, like you're going to like, have you ever gotten a bid wrong? Right? Like,
oh my gosh,
we can all raise our hands, right? We expected it to take this long.
Yeah.
And then there was something we didn't see, or the expectations changed and you're way off. Right?
Yeah.
And so you've got to go back to the client and say, look, either it was your mistake and you didn't see something, or you didn't understand something that they were going to ask you to do, and so it's taking longer.
Yeah.
Or the expectations have changed.
Yes.
Something about their life and their things have changed, and so they're asking you to do more work.
That's right.
And we can't be in the business of doing more work for the same amount of money. It just doesn't work that way, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's painful. Okay, so let's just assume everyone is convinced we got to raise our prices.
Right.
Or it might not even be, for some, it's across the board. Everyone's prices need to go up.
Yeah.
But for others, we may at least know, okay, there are certain clients that I want to raise the price on. So we need to talk about how we raise prices, like how much do you raise prices? But I want to stop and give a little caveat. I actually forgot to say this up front. A lot of our experience is in lawn care and landscape, but this applies across the board to any and all service businesses. The difference is that for people for operators who are running like recurring service businesses, like I was with lawn care,
right?
Yours is more one-off with landscape.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm talking about raising prices on existing clients, and I have to do some good communication. That's what we're going to talk a little bit about. It's like, how do you actually communicate that with them? But for everyone across the board, even if it's one-off stuff, you need to be we got to take a look at our prices periodically and analyze those, so that we don't get down the road and say, holy crap, I just left so much money on the table.
Right. I mean, even in the one-off stuff, I would still get a lot of reoccurring business, but just not like weekly or monthly. It was like, hey, we did this last year. Can we do this again?
Yes.
And I would have to have that sort of awkward or uncomfortable conversation that what you paid last year is not what you can pay this year.
Yes.
Right? Because if you do, like whether it's recurring or like if you underbid a job, it is really hard to keep a good attitude while you're doing that job.
It's so true.
Like,
it's so true.
Like, we don't want to be bitter, right? Like, we don't want.
I want to be a little Mr. Poopy Pants.
I love, like, I'm sure you guys have had it. Like,
do that.
When you land that job and you got an amazing price on it,
and
you're just like, whistle while you work, right? Like, I'm getting paid today,
Oh, yeah.
But then you get that other job where you're like underbid it and you're, like.
Yeah. Or whenever the client accepts the price way too fast.
Yeah.
Dude, I had one of those. I did a massive cleanup. This person hadn't cut their grass in 6 months. I mean, in South Louisiana. Hadn't cut their grass in South Louisiana in 6 months. I'm talking like 7-8 foot. I actually posted it on TikTok. It took so long. But whenever that person, I said, hey, it's going to be this much. Like, they're like, great. They're like so stoked. And I was like, oh, dang.
I could have charged more.
I already, like, I knew. And then, then I actually went back, kept getting rained out. So it grew probably another 6 inches to a foot. And then by the time I went out, it just took so long.
We want good clients who are paying us good money for our services.
Yeah, because we're working hard.
Yes.
We should be compensated for that. Okay, so how
100%.
much do we raise prices?
Okay. So we talk about this all the time.
All the time.
Know your numbers. If you don't know how much your business costs you, then it's really hard to, with confidence, say, well, this is how much I need to charge.
Yeah.
So, we always break down know your numbers into two parts. Number one, how much do you need to stick in your pocket? So this is understanding your personal finances and just like what could you be earning elsewhere, for either less work or, more money, those kinds of things. Like you have to know what is it to make it worth it.
Yes.
To be a service provider, what do you have to put in your pocket? The second thing is how much is it going to cost you to offer those services, to provide those services? We have built a calculator on our website. We're going to put a link down in the show notes or the description. And it's a simple tool that lets you put in both of those things that I talked about. How much money do you need to put in your pocket? And how much does your business cost you to run? And then it's going to spit out what we call the target hourly rate. And this is the target hourly rate is what you need to charge for your services. When you show up to a property, you're going to look at it and say, well, how long is this going to take me to complete? You take that time to complete, multiply it by the target hourly rate, and you're going to get a bid number that you can say with confidence, this is what I'm going to do. Now, we've done the work. We've come up with a THR number.
Yeah.
What we also built, because we love building tools. Like we do this for y'all. Like that's why we're here. We want to provide excellent tools. So the other tool that we built was a should I raise my prices assessment. Yeah. So you take that target hourly rate that you came up with, or maybe you already know it, right? Sure. And you put it in there, and then you list out your clients. And you put in how long it takes to complete each property. So maybe you need to make use of a timer for a couple weeks and kind of get a feel. I think we sometimes underestimate how long sometimes it takes to complete.
Yeah.
And that tool is then going to tell you whether you're on bid, underbid, overbid, and kind of make suggestions as to whether you need to raise your prices. So again, we're trying to take some of the guesswork out and really, really build in like cold hard numbers. To give you the confidence that I need to raise the prices. If I'm going to keep going in this business, pay myself what I need to pay myself, these are the prices I have to charge. Yeah. And kind of take a little bit of the emotion out of it, I guess. Because numbers are awkward, right? Some of these conversations are awkward. So those are tools. They do take time to complete. So I know, Matthew, when we were preparing for this, you did do some research on inflation. So talk to me a little bit about like how can we, if we don't have time to do the numbers, what's just like a good across the board number to raise? Yeah,
right now. So I looked it up. Right now, the 12 months trailing inflation as of the end of August 2022 is 8.3%.
So August to August.
Yeah. So, what was it? September 1st to August.
Sure.
End of August. But that's 8.3%. That's pretty hefty. Like that's
a big jump.
Big.
It's a big jump.
You know, it's not a shock. Like everyone's talking about inflation. Whether you're on social media, you watch the news. Like you've heard inflation no less than 367 times in the past 24 hours.
Yeah.
Like it's just everyone's talking about this. But what that means effectively, you may not feel it immediately, but if you don't raise your prices consistently, or at least on a seasonal basis, can take into consideration inflation, then you're effectively giving yourself a pay cut every single year. If those prices stay the same, the value of those dollars are decreasing over time as inflation increases more sharply. And so
I'm not about to stay at a job where every year I earn less than I did the year before.
It's painful. Like, you can't do that.
No.
Nowadays.
So, I mean, value yourself, value your time, right? Is what I think what we're, in a lot of ways, what we're saying.
Yeah. And I think if anything, when we're saying this, we're not saying you should do this, you should do that. We're saying you are worth this, you are worth that. So feel released to increase those prices.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so before we go into like how to deliver the news of, hey, well, I need to raise your price, or this is what the new price is going to be, I want to give a quick plug for the Check app. So the Check app automates all of your admin so that by the time you get home, all your admin is done. No more invoices to send, no more schedules to review. It's all there. It's all done. Your routes are optimized. It's a beautiful thing. The cool thing about the Check app is that you can start for free, 14-day free trial, no credit card required, so there's no risk to you. It's going to help you look more professional. It's going to reduce your stress. It's going to increase the amount of time you're actually earning money, which gives you more time for what matters. So go get it today in the Google Play or Apple App Store. You can look in our show notes, HelloCheck, at the link. You can go to hellocheck.co and click download. Many ways to get it. But the important thing is get it, try it out starting today. I want to give you a real review from one of our users, Coop12425. I love these reviews. Here you go. I'm a high school kid who runs a solo lawn business. Keeping track of my clients and income was difficult and something to learn. I ran into this app on TikTok. Mowing has never been easier. Great app that helps organize my client base and all their info. My favorite feature is the scheduling, so I don't forget about a lawn. They also have great customer service that replies fast if there are any issues. Highly recommend Check. That's a 5-star review. Thank you so much, Coop12425, for that review. Really appreciate it, and let's get back to the episode. Okay, so let's talk about how to deliver this news.
Yeah.
Everything is theoretical up until this point. Whenever you say,
you got to pull the trigger.
I'm about to pull the trigger. Not pull the trigger at a client.
No. Just but
with a client.
Pressing the send button on that text.
Yeah, we're going
or the phone call.
We're going to communicate with the clients. Okay, so this is a big opportunity. We have the opportunity to show that we are professionals by how we communicate about a price increase. And one of the biggest ways you can show that you're a professional is by showing that you actually care about your clients. This is not something that is going to go over super well if you just throw it in their face and assume that they're going to be super upset about it. What we can do is build trust with them even as we're giving what they might perceive as bad news, okay? Because at the end of the day, we are our brand. As solo operators, as small business owners, we are our brand. And since we grow our businesses primarily through word of mouth, and word of mouth is the lifeblood of many new leads, we have to pay attention to that. And so I want to give you a price increase checklist. These are things that I've done and that I think have worked well for me, especially for me. I'm at least considering raising prices at the beginning of every season. I'm analyzing those things because you're re-upping. And I know for me, step one is just giving context. Okay.
Right.
So it could be, you could mention inflation, you could mention higher demand, stuff like that. If you're going to raise your prices because of higher demand, I would recommend doing that at the beginning of the season, not multiple times throughout the year.
Right.
But if you have to give that context, that's helpful. Or if you underpriced it in the first place, you just say, hey, look, I'm so sorry. I missed the mark on this. This job should actually be X. You could even cut them a little deal. Say like, I'll do it for this price for the next however many weeks or months, that type of thing. So number one, give context. Number two is give the details. Give all the relevant information about the new price, the new frequency. If you need to change what you're offering, then if they've already told you, hey, I'm not going up in price or anything like that, then you could actually reduce the services that you offer. Like, I think it was someone who reached out to us on TikTok or Instagram recently. They were saying like, hey, there's this older, maybe it was in the Discord. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But someone, but I think it was someone who reached out and said, hey, what do I do? I had this couple, they can't afford much. We've been doing, we've been cutting their grass and it's been for this price, but now they want us to add this. She wants us to add this portion, further behind the house, which is like dramatically increases the services, and she wants to pay the same price. What do I do? And you could say, hey, this is going to be your price for your existing, the existing stuff that we did, or this is the new price for that extended area.
Right.
And you just say you can pick one or one or the other, but you give those details. And so that was actually step 2 and 3. So giving the details, and then also step 3, clarifying if you're going to reduce or change the services offered.
Yeah, you can sometimes, if their budget is set, like I'm not going to spend any more on this service, but you need to increase prices. Sometimes it is I have successfully reduced what I provide on a regular basis.
Yep.
So effectively, like the amount that they're paying me stays the same, but the amount of time that I am spending providing that service is less, which frees me up to go find other work.
Yes, and that's great. All right, step 4 is giving them a deadline to make a decision. So you don't want to just leave this out there. I know, again, in my context with lawn care, you don't want the grass to grow indefinitely without maintaining it. So if they don't respond quickly, then you're looking at an overgrown yard, which is going to be an additional fee.
Right.
If they don't get back to you on time. And so anyways, give them a deadline to make a decision. I find that, for whenever I was doing price increases with my business, I would send these out in early February.
Sure.
Well before we started cutting down here in Louisiana. And so I'd maybe give them like 2 weeks to respond. If they didn't respond in the first week, I'd send them another email. Hey, remember, I need to hear back from you by this time. And typically they get back and say like, all right, this is what I want, this is what I want to go with. And then step 5 is thank them. These are your clients. Again, you are a professional, and we have the opportunity to show them that we care by how we deliver this news. So it's kind of a whiff, and it's hard to see whenever people, I guess, don't believe the best in their clients.
Yeah.
Or don't try to work with them, and it's like, I'm not cutting your grass anymore unless you pay me X.
Yeah,
well,
that's not the way to deliver the news.
That's hard, because that
turn your customer off.
That doesn't inspire confidence in them that they're going to be treated well in the future if something else goes wrong, right? So
now I did not successfully. I did not have 100% batting average on raising prices.
Yeah.
Not everybody.
I don't think anyone does.
Right. So what would be your advice on how do you handle the no's? Like what if somebody says no to your price increase?
Got to stick to it.
Sticking to your guns.
You have to stick to it.
Yeah.
Because let's just break this down again. Because our goal here is to help you feel good and confident about raising prices to the point that you are worth. So let's just break this down again. Your time is valuable, and as you gain experience and professionalism, you can charge more. You should charge more. It's okay to charge more.
Yes.
It's even expected that you charge more. You did the math. You crunched the numbers. You know what it's going to cost you to run your business and to make it worth it for you to keep showing up and performing these services. And if a client says, hey, they can't afford it, then again, an option is to reduce the services. Mm-hmm. That is a great option. If they're like, hey, I'm so sorry, that was higher than I thought, or I can't afford that right now, be like, okay, well, here's what I can offer you. Are you interested in that? Or you move on. And if a client gets angry with you, let's talk about those. If you've been in the industry long enough, it's going to happen to you. You're going to hear about people who did that. If someone gets angry with you over, typically we're talking about a few dollars.
Right.
Like, at least for me, lawn care, you're talking about a few dollars per cut. Like, that's what we're talking about here. Like, think about this. If I move your price from $50 to $55 per cut, that's $5. that's only a 10% increase. That's that covers inflation, but that's only $5 per cut. And someone gets angry at you, to me, that's a red flag. That is an indicator that they never really valued me before, right? They may have been okay with me. May have been happy with my service. But if you're going to get mad at a person who is working hard for you, then doesn't necessarily make me as a business owner want to keep showing them, because I kind of want to slap an extra pain in my tail fee on top of that, which I have done.
Yeah.
We didn't even talk about that.
No.
We didn't talk
We'll
about
there.
that fee. That's a fee that I like to slap on people. Like if I don't like a yard, I will try to price myself out to the point that if they come back and accept it, I'm happy again.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said in this industry about having good relationships with your clients.
So good.
Where it's this very like two-way mutual relationship.
That's right.
Where you value them and the service that, or the income that they provide to you and your business and your family, and they value you as like the hard work that you've put in. And so the more clients, like, it's just a quality of life, like the clients that give you, like, I had one that would give me little like gift cards to Starbucks.
That's awesome.
For Christmas. I had a elderly lady who gave me socks, right? With little pelicans on them for Louisiana, right? It's like those clients you want to stack your schedule. You want to stack, your funnel with clients that there's a two-way street. And so I have found that the clients that respect me, that respect the work that myself and my crew were providing, were okay with the price increase.
Yes.
And they understood, and it wasn't worth it to them. Like the pain and the agony of trying to find somebody else and get new bids, and they might not even find somebody that's going to charge less than what I'm charging, right? And so it wasn't worth it to them, and what was worth it was keeping me around.
Yeah. That's a good point. And again, like I know that I can't remember if I've told this story before or not, but I had someone who reached out for, this wasn't an existing client, so I didn't necessarily raise their price, but this kind of gets the point across, is that I gave this lady a bid, $48 per cut. And her response was, "Can you do it for $45?" And just red flag.
Yeah. $3.
I was kind of stunned. Like, are you like, now of course, like, it's okay. Like, it's okay. She's going, if she wants to ask, that's up to her on whether or not she wants to ask. But as a business owner, it's up to me on whether or not to take that counter or not. And I held my ground. And it wasn't necessarily because of the $3. It was because if she's asking for $3 now, what is she going to ask for later? And so I held my ground and decided if she wants to go with me for 48, I almost I had to, like, sometimes I have to put the phone down and just
take a breath.
Because I wanted to say, okay, I'll do it for 50.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to go the other way because I'm like, lady, you annoying me right now.
Yeah.
But that is operator real talk right there. But she didn't go with me. And then every once in a while I'd pass by her yard on the way to another client, and that thing looked pretty bad. Edges looked horrible.
Yeah.
It was like, whatever. She reached back out a few months later and was asking me to cut her grass. But anyways, stick to your guns. You know what you're worth. You've done the math. You're worth it. All right. It's okay. It is okay to ask for those high prices.
We've kind of gone over a lot today.
Yeah.
Pack. We know why we need to raise prices.
Yeah.
We know how what we're going to raise prices by.
Yeah.
We know how we're going to communicate. That's a lot. But what's like the one thing you want somebody to take away from today?
Yeah. Okay. So there is a lot in this episode. There's a lot that we've covered, and really I think that to encapsulate it and to make sure that you have the resources that you need, go to the blog posts. We'll link them in the show notes. There's one that's called "Do I Need to Raise My Prices?" and another one that's called "How to Raise My Prices." And in there, we give you the resources to calculate your target hourly rate, to assess your existing prices. And also, we even give you a template on some communication tactics, like like an email template that will help you communicate to your clients about a price increase. And also, throwing this out, if you have a rough situation that you're in around pricing or anything like that regarding your business, join our Discord and throw it in there, because we got some all-stars in there. So our team, Matt and I, are active in our Discord. And then also we have some incredible professionals running awesome businesses that are in the Check Crew Discord. So go jump on that. We'll link that in the show notes as well. But anyways, I want y'all to remember that at Check, we're here to champion you, the operator. We want to help you any way that we can, whether that's through our content, answering pressing questions, engaging with you on social media, or with the Check app. We're here to help you and serve you and champion you. If you got any sort of value out of this podcast, please leave us a good rating and review, share it, post it up, anything like that. We'd love for you to do that. And then also, if you're not already, jump in our Check Crew Discord so that we can keep this conversation going. If you have any questions that you want us to cover on this podcast or on social media, you can email us at podcast@hellocheck.co or join us in the Discord and throw it in there. Appreciate y'all.